Hey again everybody, City StarCraft here from the StarCraft 2 commentary. This is a particular matchup that was sent to me, is as you can tell a 4v4, and the teams are as follows. Over here on the right side we got Diablode playing as the Teal Protoss. Right above him, Nova playing as the Red Zerg. Purple Terran is the KVR, and their last, but hopefully least, or maybe not least, whichever, Lime playing as the Blue Protoss. That'd be Team 1, and I'll probably call it Team Lime just because I feel the urge to. On the left side, it looks like we have JDX playing as the Orange Terran. Pyromanical, excuse me, playing as the Lavender or Purple Protoss down here. And also appears to be Quarterly, playing as the Green Terran. And last but not least, Grumio over here playing as the Yellow Zerg. Now, of course, I'll call that Team JDX. So we have Team JDX versus Team Lime. And while everybody's getting underway, I will say, though, I appreciate everybody who has watched my videos and has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so, because every time I get a subscription, a pedophile gets raped in jail, which is always a good thing. So subscribe. It helps out more than just me, as I've advocaatly put there. It does appear to be that Diablode is not choosing to wall off his ramp here. So I probably say that at some point in time that will be utilized, especially since there's a Zerg player, that they get up inside this particular base, possibly do some damage to both of these teammates right here. Now on this particular map, the name escapes me at the immediate moment, which I do apologize for. But basically, it is, like I said, it is a 4v4, but you have a base with one other teammate, and you share a base as that, and then your other two teammates share a base as well, and same for, of course, your opponents. The ramp itself is a little bit larger than most, so it does take a few buildings to wall off. It's sometimes a little harder for Protoss because of the pylon placements where you have to put them in order to maximize, where you might have to put your buildings. So it can be a little difficult at times. It does appear that Grumio is a little bit behind the harvester count. It looks like he possibly might be going for an early pull here. Looks like at 11 supply he is doing that. It looks like maybe he's possibly screwing around with his teammates. I'm not sure. He's saying, don't know what Zerg have anything good. Maybe he played random in this match and has never really played Zerg, or he's, like I say, just screwing around with his teammates, both of which are viable possibilities. KVR is working on completely walling off the base here, wisely doing so, just because, again, they're going up against the Zerg players, so doing so prevents any type of Zergling run by, but so he decides to try and wall off, and then he decides to back out and put his second barracks over here. Interesting. I would have probably considered continue to wall off at the front door, but production facility showing absolutely nothing at the immediate moment because I am lagging, which I don't understand why. There it goes. Again, I do apologize. Been having some connection issues and networking issues lately. Finally had some people come out and ended up having to replace the fiber optic cable that's running to my place. I have FiOS connection, so that's probably one of the better ones you could get, so I was very ticked when occasionally it would kick out, and yeah, I couldn't play StarCraft or couldn't get on the internet or anything like that. But for the most part, it has been resolved. They replaced the line completely, so good news there. But it seems to be affecting me a little bit in the moment. I do apologize. This is actually take 3 or take 4 so far of this match, just because of the connection issues I did have. But on a positive note with that, I do not watch the entire replay, so I've only watched the first 30 seconds over and over again. So I'm still curious to see exactly what happens with this 4v4. It doesn't appear that there could be any early rushes. As you can see, it's already hitting the 5-minute mark. So for the most part, we might be looking into a possibly macro game, late game, trying to do some drops, trying to do some unique play to offset the amount of forces your teammates have. Now, I know for a fact, because I got the replay from this particular team, that JDX does have shared unit control. If you have someone confident enough to actually use all the units and not just sacrifice your whole army, unit control is definitely a plus, so that you all 4 people have their units at the same time, and you can possibly push in and maybe just completely destroy one particular enemy. And in this particular case, if you're able to push in, you possibly can destroy 2 of them, because again, it's a shared base instead of on your own little island. Now, it does look like the Limes team is going to be pushing out. It's got about 10 Marines here, 4 Zealots coming in. Good unit composition right there. The Zealots could easily tank for the Marines, and they can get some work in that. Same location. Nova looks like he might be doing some feelings here, but he's going up against the Siege Tank. Siege Tank definitely going to ward that off. This particular army right here is very superior compared to Team JDX, and as you can see, he's trying to get the Guardian Shield up to hopefully survive a little bit longer, but at this point now, there's a lot of Marines, a lot of Zealots right outside the base of JDX. Looks like Pyromanical is going to try to warp in some Zealots off the high ground. Great placement of the pylon here, so some warp down below, and it looks like they actually are going to be able to hold, possibly. The Marines are going to be turning around to attack the Pyromanical, and it looks like actually all of the units for Team Lime are going to converge down here on this one particular location, clean up Pyromanical's army, and now going to end up working on the wall here. Unfortunately, there's a couple SCVs not really doing anything in the back here. They definitely need to be working on repairing something, or at least blocking some of the units. Pyromanical is warping in some Zealots right here. There's a big battle going on. Units streaming in from all the bases over here. Unfortunately, JDX and Pyromanical, the only ones over here trying to hold off this entire army that's being pushed in. As you can see, more units are rallying constantly over here. So, not good situation for JDX to be in. His SCVs are under attack now. His production facilities are falling left and right. And really, what does his teammates have to come over here and help? It looks like Zealot Charge just finished for Lime, making his Zealots even more powerful. But it also appears that Quarterly is going to come over here with his tanks against Zealot Charge, though really there's not much you can do. Now there's a substantial Marine army here that's just going to be pushing through, destroying the rest of Pyromanical's army, going to come down here and possibly work on some worker harassment. That would definitely not be good if 2 bases are completely lost. Looks like Lime's up here just chilling with a couple of Zealots, trying to possibly keep that watchtower. Pyromanical is warping in some Zealots himself, doing some pretty good damage against the Marines. There's just too many of them, unfortunately. It definitely needs to micro his soccer around, possibly to keep that alive. At the same time, looks like Nova is going to stream more Zerglings over here, so it definitely looks in a bad situation for Pyromanical and for JDX's teams, or bases I should say. JDX is able to finally be able to fly his command center away, but Pyromanical unfortunately is going to lose all of his probes here. There's nothing he can do about it, and at this point he's also going to lose all of his production facilities as well. It does appear that Grumio is going to finally come over here with some Zerglings himself to come over and help assist, but they don't have the Zergling speed at this point in time. 9 minutes into the game, he should have more of an army, or he should have at least Zergling speed, I would assume. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to help much. He completely lost like half of his Zerglings to these Zealots, especially with that charge, and definitely lost the rest of the Zerglings over here. In a situation like that, when you know you're outnumbered, and all you have are Zerglings, it's better to try and counterattack, possibly do some work harassment, than to just sacrifice your Zerglings to come over here. He had maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 Zerglings. It maybe got 1 kill, to be honest with you. Where instead, if he came over here, he probably could have gotten 20, 30 or so worker kills, or did something like that. Now, KVR actually has a substantial, of course, Marine army here, coupled with Lime's Zealots. This is a good unit composition. Zealots definitely could tank for the Marines, especially with that charge. It doesn't appear that they do have charge at the moment. It might be Diabolode, I should say, that actually has the charge. But it does look like that Grumio is going to be under attack at this point. There's a tank back here from Quarterly trying to hold off couple things on the high ground, doing some good damage to the Zerglings, but unfortunately that's going to be a lot of Marines. Grumio does have mutas, and as you can see, mutas do not work against Marines. Again, if you have some units and you know you're outmatched, use your units elsewhere. You should definitely have not used the mutas on here. As you can see, 3 kills, maybe a total of 4 or 5 kills, plus a little bit that he lost, or on the ones that he did lose. Where again, if he came over here, attacked these workers, he probably could have destroyed all these, because the Protoss player's attention is over here, and then maybe moved in here and destroyed even more. But these tanks are doing a great job keeping the army at bay. They do, of course, have the high ground, do have vision. He's occasionally scanning over here to see what's going on, see what he might be able to pick up. And these Marines could easily turn around and take these Mutalisks out, as you can easily see. Marines are so cost effective against Mutalisks, but rallying them like that is definitely not the best thing to do. KVR is pretty good about keeping up with his units, but his rally point off the start was really good, being able to rally down here and continue to push forward. But his rally point towards the end there definitely sacrificed a lot of those Marines. You know, rally points are nice and all, but always be sure you know where your rally point is. If you have it in the wrong position, it's definitely not going to work too well for you. One little Mutalisk over here trying to do some damage to Zerglings and Zealots, but that will not be at all effective. So for the most part, it is a 1v4 at the immediate moment. The only one that actually has a decent base and up and running is Quarterly. The Zerg player here, Grumio, not really being beneficial to his team much, just because the unit composition he went for, he sacrificed them all to the StarCraft gods, it appears. You know, like I say, if you got Mutalisks, if you're able to pick, if you have them in huge numbers, you'll be able to do okay against Marines, but overall Marines are way more cost effective because they cost 50 minerals as opposed to the, what you got here. It's been a while since I played Zerg. As opposed to 100 minerals and 100 gas for the mutas. Yeah. So more cost effective. So use your mutas to attack, harass the worker line, prevent expansions, and get map control. If he had map control with the Mutalisks, constantly flying them around, rallying more mutas to the ones he had, he wouldn't have lost any. And he could have, you know, definitely helped his team get back into contention against the other team. JDX was able to actually get this expansion over here, and so far it has not been scouted, so he's trying to get up a little bit of a force here. He's talking about possibly doing a drop here, helping his team get back into it. You know, you got to keep fighting. You know, there's a lot of times that you can keep holding it down, even though it seems like you're completely destroyed. You might be able to come back into this game. Let's do a recap of so far where we're at. Pyromanical is no longer in this game. Quarterly is the only one really doing anything for his team, at the immediate moment, that is. JDX, of course, was hit very hard off the start and had to lift off his base, bring it over here, but it does appear he is able to come back into this game. And Grumio, for the most part, still sticking on one base, never good to be with Zerg. And, yeah, sacrificed a lot of mutas to the StarCraft gods. Quarterly's doing a good job, of course, with the tanks, blocking that. There's almost no way any type of ground army can get through there. It looks like he might possibly doing some Banshee play here as well. Over on the other side, we have KVR that's sticking, it looks like, only on Marines at the immediate moment. Might want to consider working on at least some upgrades for them. Do they even have the combat shield? They don't even have the combat shields. If you stick with a lot of Marines, get that combat shields. I mean, he doesn't even have tech labs or, you know, reactors or anything. So build stuff on your barracks, get the combat shields, and start upgrades as well. It looks like his teammate up here in Lime is sticking with gateway units, switching over possibly to